I asked for some questions over on Instagram on like solo traveling because I've been doing solo traveling for like a little while now. It has been the best experience of my life. I love it so much. And so I'm going to just read these questions and answer them randomly. I haven't even gone through them as yet. The first one is, what's the place called that you said had everything and cheap? And I think this question was when I was in Singapore, and it's called Mufasa Center. Yeah, that's where I went and I bought my SD card, and like, you could get some other little stuff as well. How you brave so, girl? One life I'm having now, and yes, I know it's one life, but the fact that I'm in Asia in a way, kind of, I feel a bit more safe over here than on the other side of the world, to be very honest. And I just said, you know what? No one wants to come to me that's come with me on this trip. It's fine. I'm going to live it up by myself. Like, I know how to have a good time by myself. Along the trips, you know, sometimes I got a little scared. I won't even lie. Sometimes I get a little scared, but I got over that pretty quick. What was my favorite experience in Singapore so far? What was my favorite experience? Oh my gosh. You know how long I had these questions sitting on them, and I know I'm like buffering. But I really enjoyed, there's this light show by Marina Bay Sands by the waterfront. That was really nice for me. I really liked that, as well as I liked eating at the Indian restaurants, and I liked my hostel a lot because the people there were so friendly and we talk all the time. Yeah. How would I rate the solo traveling experience? 10 out of 10. Like, I love it. And do you love to travel solo more than you love to travel with your partner? Yes. And let me explain. So, I like traveling solo and I like traveling with my boyfriend. But I like to go to a different place every time, and he likes to go to the same places every time. And I don't like that. And so I'd much rather spend to go to a new place, you know? I hate seeing the same place every time. So that's the reason why I say, yeah, I prefer solo traveling. Do you suggest public or private transportation on vacation, and why? I suggest public transportation depending on which country, because you get to see more. Like, you get to look outside and you see the buildings, and you probably spot a place that you want to visit, and you're like, oh, you know, we can come back here. Private transportation is going to cost you more, and it feels less authentic. When you're traveling somewhere, you want to get the most authentic feeling, depending on if you're just going for like beachfront vacation. Personally, I'd suggest the public transportation just to get the feel of it. What are the main things to consider when planning a trip? So I have this little book. Yo, like, my whole room is jacked up right now because I'm packing to go back home. But you did not ask me this. Okay, so country, entry requirements, airfare, Airbnb, like pocket money, excursions, eSIM, and like other little things like eSIM, and yeah, that's basically it. So what I do first, I just like look on the plane fare, or I look up cheapest ways to get there, because some places you can get by boat, some by plane, and I just look for the cheapest Airbnbs, or ones that are like great deals, and then I'll kind of plan around that. I was mentioning that I have like a book back there where I have like a page for airline, a page for Airbnbs, and I compare the prices and budget. Like, I make a budget friendly trip for myself. Oh, and money exchange. And I also recommend exchanging the least amount of money possible at the airport, because you're going to always get a better deal in the city. Best and worst parts of solo travel, and how do you determine your next trip? So the best part is that you will get to do whatever you want at whatever time. You have nobody to be like, oh, let's stop here, or I don't want to do this today. No, it's up to you. You can sleep in, you can not sleep in, you can go here and spend the whole day, or you can just it's down to whatever to plan your own trip. And the worst part is that sometimes you get lonely. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I'm there, I'm like, damn, like mommy would have liked this, you know, or my sister would love this, but they're not here. And especially when I stayed at this Airbnb in Malaysia, it was so nice. Like it was a condo and everything, had pool. And then I sat there in my Airbnb and like, I wish people were here. Like it would be so nice if my family was here. They would so enjoy this, and I'm just here alone. Yeah, it's nice, but I mean, if I don't have my family to share it with, it's like So I have hints of loneliness on my trip sometimes, and also for some of the tours, it's better for like groups, like group tours, and so you would have your own group. But since I'm a solo traveler, I would have to find a tour that would accommodate me joining them, and it would be weird. Like imagine you have your family and then there's this random girl that wants to join the tour and you don't know anything about her. It's kind of awkward. So yeah, and also places like Korea, it's kind of harder to find restaurants because they mainly cater to servings greater than 2. So yeah, that's like the downside to it. The video probably go long, you know, because mega take my time. But how do I determine my next trip? I look for a general area in Asia. If you realize, I left from the US and I went straight to Singapore through Korea. Let me just get a picture. I like to demonstrate. So boy, I'm going to do a little demonstration. So this is Jamaica, and so I left from Jamaica and I went to New York, right? And from New York I flew to I know that I wanted, my end goal was China, right? Because that's where my school was, or school is. And I know that I wanted to travel Asia. So how did I do this? I hopped from New York and I went to Singapore, because Singapore has a major airport and you can get good flights through there, and it will lay over in maybe like Korea or something like that. So you know, you realize that Singapore is at the bottom and China is way up here. So I decided to travel from the bottom up. So from Singapore I hopped to Malaysia, which is like right here, an hour away. From Malaysia I hopped to Vietnam, because Vietnam was very close to Malaysia. I didn't go to, over here is Thailand. Thailand at the time you needed a visa, and so like I crossed that out of my list. From Vietnam I hopped to Korea, and from Korea to China the flight was so cheap. So I did that because I realized that it would have been cheaper. Most of my tickets cost like 40 US. I kid you not, 40 US. The most expensive was from Vietnam to Korea, and I was like 120 US. Yeah, from Korea to China like 70 US. So yeah, that's how I plan my trip. I nowadays I don't want to go to just one country, and so I have to like figure out the best way to island or country hop. Yeah. I mostly use Airbnbs, yes. Since recently I've started using trip.com, but for the most part it's Airbnbs. How do you search for the best flights? So my dad, he uses cheaptickets.com, and so I downloaded their app, and that's the app that I use to find flights, as well as Trip. So I'll use both of them and see which one is best. Can you provide a breakdown of everything you did to get to your destination? Visas, etc. Now that would be a very long video. That would be a very long video, but whew, okay. I'm kind of confused. Do you mean you want me to go through like the visa process, like how to get the visa, or you want to I'm going to do an overview like you said. So from JFK to Singapore, you don't need a visa to enter Singapore as a Jamaican, and so it would transit through Korea. I took Korean Air because I know that I wouldn't need a visa to go to Korea, right? if I had a longer layover, I could even leave the airport and explore Korea. But at the time, Korea wasn't on my list to go as yet. So went to Singapore. The country nearest to Singapore that didn't require a visa was Malaysia. So I didn't need a visa for there. From Malaysia to Vietnam. Vietnam, I went on YouTube and I watched this guy's video. I'm going to see if I can recommend it in the description. And he basically told us how to apply and things that you should avoid and everything. So he said you should get your passport pictures, you scan your passport, and the price is $25 US, and he would tell us what to avoid. Like, do not use this fake website, use this website. It's a very easy process. They literally just ask for your name, your passport details, your address, the address that you plan to stay. And whenever a visa website is asking for the address you plan to stay and you haven't booked your trip, literally just look up a hotel in the country, a random hotel that could pass, and get their address from Google and use that in your application. So that's what I did because I didn't book anything as yet. And yeah, most of these e-visas, they will reply to you within 3 business days. And so that's what happened. I would suggest, if you're going to do an e-visa, do it at least a week before. Do it as soon as possible. Like, as soon as possible, just in case there's something that you need to change, or just in case you get denied, which is a rare case. And so yeah, got my Vietnamese visa. I applied for all these when I was in Jamaica, before even going to JFK. And I think I'm going to make a separate video on how to get the Vietnamese visa. From Vietnam, I went to Korea. For Korea, we don't need a visa. We need to fill out a form, which is the same thing. They're asking for your name, your passport details, the address you plan to stay, right? Which can be changed. So you can like get a random Korean hotel, put that in, and when you actually book your trip, you can edit it. So yeah, you won't have to pay to edit it, but you must pay to get it. And to get the Korean ETA to get that document, it's $8 US. And what I've realized, especially if you have Scotiabank, they might shut down your card and not allow you to pay. It's not because you don't have money on your account. I realize they have this new security thing where any purchase outside of the country, or that's considered weird to them, they flag it. And so you just call Scotia and be like, hey guys, that was actually me. Can you send it to the security team that this was not a threat, and could you open up back my account? And within like 30 minutes your account will be open and you can try again. So lots of people run into that. For the KETA, I had to ask my brother-in-law to pay for it for me using a US card. So if you want to avoid all that with Scotiabank, just get someone with a US card to pay for it. They can log into your portal and pay for you. Yeah, there are more questions actually, but I lost them. But yeah, thank you so much. I hope I went in detail. If not, I just have to do a part 2. But yeah, there are also some apps that I recommend for traveling in Asia overall, and it is, first one is Klook, Grab, XE. Yeah, those 3 are good for starters. And so Klook is basically where you can book almost anything there, but mostly like attractions and some transportation, like airport transportation and stuff like that. Grab is basically Uber, but it's the Asian form of it. They have their own Uber. And XE is just a money exchange app. Yeah, very simple, good to have, instead of just going on Google and typing in change USD to yeah.